A hazmat response always carries with it an element of uncertainty and a degree of risk. You never know what you're going to find on arrival at the incident scene. You have to be prepared for the unexpected. To help, the IAFF developed the risk-based response process, known as API. Using facts plus science plus the existing circumstances, you can work your way through the 4 steps in the process to arrive at a safe, competent response. A. Analyze. Identify the problems you face and the likely behavior and outcomes of the incident. P. Plan. Develop and communicate an incident action plan. I. Implement. Put the plan into effect and observe operations and outcomes. E. Evaluate. Assess the effectiveness of your response. Analysis begins with the emergency dispatch, putting together what has been reported with what you know about the location. Upon arrival at the scene, initiate incident command and communicate a brief size-up of conditions present. Survey the incident to identify if hazardous materials are present, determine if they have been released, and evaluate the surrounding conditions. This includes observing visual clues, such as placards and labels, and gaining information from people present at the scene. Collect hazard and response information by using reliable sources such as the Emergency Response Guidebook or ERG, an MSDS for the material, information from the shipper or manufacturer, the NIOSH Pocket Guide, NFPA, Chemtrec Canutech, and local, state, and federal authorities. Identify the type of container or containers involved, any obvious or potential stresses created by the incident, and any visible damage. Based on the data developed to this point, predict the behavior of the hazardous material and its container. As a final critical step in your analysis, estimate the likely outcomes from the hazardous materials or WMD incident, the potential harm to the area, to the people within the area, and to emergency response personnel. Having identified the hazmat problems and the likely behavior and outcomes of the incident, your next step is to plan an initial response that is within the capability of the available personnel and consistent with the personal protective equipment available. In planning your response, describe the options available to you for dealing with this incident at this time. Determine resource needs. Do you have the necessary personnel, equipment, and safety measures to go forward? Should you appoint a safety officer? Do you need to expand the incident command structure in order to safely mitigate this incident? Do you need support from state and local authorities? Determine whether the personal protective equipment provided is appropriate for implementing each option. Can you do what you need to do while keeping your crew safe? Describe decon issues. Do you need to provide emergency decon for victims of the incident? What about your personnel dealing with the incident? Is there a need for mass decon or technical decon? From these planning considerations, select the response options you will use to mitigate the incident effectively and safely. The selected options become your incident action plan. Communicate this plan to all agencies and personnel involved. Then implement the planned response for the incident to produce a favorable outcome, consistent with the emergency response plan and standard operating procedures. Establish and enforce scene control. Secure the area. Establish crowd control and traffic control using local authorities as available. Establish hot, warm, and cold zones for the incident. Establish and maintain communication with all personnel and agencies involved. Perform emergency or other decontamination as the situation requires. Perform protective actions. These may include the rescue of victims, evacuation or shelter in place of people potentially subject to exposure, and the treatment and transport of casualties. And of course, be sure to use the required personal protective equipment. Perform control options. These are the defensive actions taken by personnel based on their training and capabilities. These would include activities such as diking, jamming, and diverting hazardous material. As the incident action plan is implemented, observe the operations and their impact on the incident. This is not only critical to managing the incident, but also it is part of evaluating the effectiveness of the response. Evaluation of the response to a hazmat or WMD incident is quite pragmatic. Are the response objectives being met safely, effectively, and efficiently? As the status of the response is determined, communicate this to all concerned. Throughout incident operations, good communication is crucial. Keep everyone informed. The API model leads you step by step from the initial dispatch through the stages of analyze, plan, implement, and evaluate to a safe, competent response to a hazardous materials or WMD incident. Follow the model. Be safe. Accomplish the objectives.